Episode 24, The Formal Inquiry. The footsteps approaching Conference Room 7 carried the measured cadence of military precision, but Dex could hear the exhaustion beneath them. The way Admiral Strand's left knee clicked slightly with each step, the subtle drag of fatigue in his gait. Across 17 dimensions, the Admiral's quantum signature showed stress patterns that would have alarmed any medical officer. Elevated cortisol, disrupted sleep cycles, the telltale electromagnetic fluctuations of sustained anxiety. "He hasn't slept properly in 4 days," Dex murmured, watching the door. Elara squeezed his hand. "Neither have we. Different kind of tired." Dex closed his eyes, trying to filter down to just 3 dimensions. The technique Elara had taught him helped, but it was like trying to ignore a symphony by focusing on a single instrument. The other 14 dimensions didn't disappear. They just became background noise instead of overwhelming cacophony. "He's carrying the weight of 50,000 people. We're just carrying ourselves." "Just ourselves," Elara repeated with a wry smile. "And the fate of 73 species, and the expectations of the Council of Ascended Species. And..." Point taken. The door opened. Admiral Strand entered, and Dex was struck by how much older the man looked than when they'd first met in his office 6 weeks ago. New lines creased his face, and gray had spread further through his hair. The rigid military bearing remained, but it seemed to take more effort now, as if he were holding himself upright through sheer will. "Admiral," Dex said, starting to stand. Strand waved him back down. "Stay seated. You two look like hell." "Sir, with respect, you look worse," Elara said. A ghost of a smile touched Strand's lips. "Diplomatic as always, Dr. Voss." He moved to the conference table, but instead of sitting across from them in the formal position, he pulled out the chair beside Dex and sank into it with a heavy sigh. "The formal inquiry begins in 73 minutes. 73, Dex said. "Not 75 or 80. 73 exactly." The Galactic Assembly representatives insisted on the symbolism, 1 minute for each member species. Strand rubbed his eyes. Politics. Even in crisis, especially in crisis, everything becomes theater. Dex studied the Admiral's face, seeing the weight there. "How bad is it? Honestly, I don't know yet." Strand pulled up a holographic display from his wristcom, and data streams materialized above the table. The official inquiry panel consists of 7 representatives, 2 human, 2 Lumineth, 1 Vexian, 1 Thrin, and 1 Critharium. They've been conducting preliminary interviews for the past 18 hours. Station personnel who witnessed your departure, military records from the Cathara mission, testimonies from the conspirators we arrested. "What are they saying?" Elara asked. Strand's expression darkened. "Mixed. The human representatives are split. Ambassador Reeves from the Colonial Assembly is sympathetic, but Representative Zhao from the Earth Council is calling for your immediate detention. He's arguing that you destroyed a priceless precursor artifact without authorization and that your transformation makes you a potential threat to human security." A threat. Dex felt something cold settle in his stomach. "What does that mean exactly?" "It means he wants you locked in a research facility where they can study how you work." Strand met Dex's eyes. "I won't let that happen. But you need to understand the political reality. Half the Assembly sees you as a hero who saved the galaxy, and the other half sees you as an unpredictable variable that needs to be controlled or eliminated." "And the alien representatives?" Elara's voice was tight. Strand scrolled through the data. "The Lumineth are advocating for you. No surprise there, given the Matriarch's offer. The Thrin representative, war poet Kreshtal, has declared you worthy of blood honor after reviewing the combat data from Cathara. The Critharium delegate simply stated that anyone who attempts to harm you will face the full might of the swarm." "That's reassuring," Dex said. "It's complicated," Strand replied. "The Critharium's protection makes you valuable, but it also makes some species nervous. There are those who think you've somehow manipulated them, that you're using alien alliances to position yourself above human authority." Dex laughed, a sharp bark of disbelief. "I'm a janitor who can't even look at a wall without seeing 17 versions of it. I'm not manipulating anyone." "I know that. You know that. But perception matters in politics." Strand leaned back, his chair creaking. "The Vexian representative is the wild card. Ambassador Krixtal is calculating her position based on economic factors. Her species invested heavily in precursor research, and they lost significant resources when you destroyed the Crucible. She hasn't committed to supporting or condemning you yet. So we're going into this inquiry with the outcome uncertain, Elara said. Strand nodded. The best I can do is provide context, character testimony, and military justification for the mission. But ultimately, they're going to want to hear from you directly. They'll ask about the conspiracy, about the Crucible, about what happened in the space between dimensions with the precursors. About what I am now? Dex added quietly. Yes. Strand's voice softened. They're going to want to know if you're still human, if you can be trusted, if you're controllable. The word hung in the air like a blade. Dex felt Elara's hand tighten on his, felt her anger spike across the quantum dimensions, a fierce protectiveness that made his chest ache. I'm still me, Dex said. I'm still the guy who spent 6 years fixing broken equipment and trying to stay invisible. I just see more now, feel more, understand more. I believe you, Strand said, but you're going to have to make them believe it too. And some of them won't want to believe it, because accepting that you're still fundamentally human means accepting that any of us could become what you are. That terrifies them. Dex closed his eyes, trying to center himself. Across 17 dimensions, he could feel the station around them, 50,000 lives going about their routines, unaware that in 72 minutes, a handful of politicians would decide his fate. He could feel the quantum entanglement connecting every conscious being, the way their choices rippled out through probability space, affecting futures not yet determined. The matriarch's offer, Dex said, opening his eyes. How does that factor into this? Strand's expression became carefully neutral. Officially, it doesn't. The inquiry is about your past actions, not your future role. But unofficially, he paused. If you accept the position as humanity's representative to the Council, it changes everything. You'd be operating under the Lumineth's protection and authority, which would supersede the Assembly's jurisdiction in many ways. So I'd be safe, Dex said. Safe from arrest or detention, yes, but you'd also be committing to a role you're not sure you want, and you'd be doing it under pressure rather than genuine choice. Strand leaned forward. I won't tell you what to decide, Dex, but I will tell you this. Don't let fear make your decision for you. Whatever you choose it because it's what you actually want, not because it's the path of least resistance. Elara spoke up. What happens if the inquiry goes badly? If they decide to detain him? Strand's jaw tightened. Then we have a problem, because I won't let them take him to some black site research facility, and the Critharium have made it clear they'll consider any attempt to harm him an act of war. We could be looking at a diplomatic crisis that makes the recent conflict look minor. So no pressure, Dex muttered. Actually, that's exactly what I'm telling you. Ignore the pressure. Strand stood, straightening his uniform. Go into that inquiry room and tell them the truth. Not the political truth, not the strategic truth, just the actual truth about what happened and why. Let them see the man who chose to destroy the Crucible rather than use it, who refused to transcend because he valued his humanity more than power. That's the person I believed in 6 weeks ago, and that's the person I still believe in now. Dex rose to his feet, Elara beside him. Thank you, sir. Don't thank me yet. Strand moved toward the door, then paused. One more thing, Sarah Chen will be in the observation gallery during the inquiry. She requested permission to attend, and I couldn't find a legitimate reason to deny it. I thought you should know. Dex's stomach twisted. The memory of their conversation yesterday was still raw. Her grief, her need to understand why her brother had become a monster, the way she'd looked at him across the table with a mixture of pain and desperate hope. Will she? Dex trailed off, unsure how to finish the question. Testify? No, she's just observing. Strand's expression gentled slightly. She told me she needs to hear the full story, needs to understand the scope of what her brother was part of. I think she's trying to find some way to make peace with it. Elara spoke softly. That can't be easy for her. Nothing about this is easy for anyone, Strand replied. He opened the door, and the sounds of the station filtered in. Distant conversations, the hum of life support, the endless rhythm of 50,000 people living and working in the void of space. I'll see you both in the inquiry chamber in 68 minutes. Try to rest. He left, the door sliding shut behind him with a soft hiss. Dex stood there, feeling the weight of the upcoming inquiry settle over him like a physical thing. Across 17 dimensions, he could see probability streams branching out from this moment. Futures where the inquiry went well, futures where it went catastrophically wrong, futures where he accepted the matriarch's offer, futures where he refused it. Thousands of possible paths, each one leading to different consequences. Hey, Elara touched his face, turning his attention back to her. Come back to me. Dex blinked, focusing on her. Just her, in 3 dimensions, solid and real and here. Sorry, the futures keep trying to show me what might happen. Can you see which one we end up in? No. He took her hands in his. That's the whole point, I think. The precursors could see all possible futures, and it paralyzed them. They spent 10,000 years planning their transcendence, trying to account for every variable, and in the end, they lost themselves anyway. I can see the paths, but I can't know which one we'll walk until we walk it. Elara smiled, though her eyes were worried. Then I guess we walk it together and see where we end up. Together, Dex agreed. No lone hero sacrifices. No lone hero sacrifices, she confirmed. They stood there for a moment, hands clasped, drawing strength from each other. Then Elara pulled him toward the conference room's small side chamber, where a basic rest area had been set up. 2 narrow cots, a refresher unit, some military rations. We have 67 minutes, she said. You need to eat something, and we both need to at least pretend to rest. Dex wanted to argue, but his body betrayed him. His stomach growled, and exhaustion pulled at his limbs like weights. 4 days of minimal sleep and constant dimensional drift had taken their toll. They ate in silence, forcing down reconstituted protein and carb paste that tasted like cardboard. Dex tried to focus on the simple act of eating, on the texture and temperature and basic physical reality of food, but his mind kept wandering to the inquiry. What questions would they ask? How could he possibly explain what had happened in the space between dimensions? Would they believe him? Would they understand? Would it matter if they did? Dex, Elara's voice cut through his spiraling thoughts. I can literally see you disappearing into your head. Stop it. Sorry. He set down the ration pack. This is it, you know. Everything we did, everything we sacrificed, it all comes down to 73 minutes of politicians deciding whether I'm a hero or a threat. No, Elara said firmly, it doesn't. What you did, is already done. The crucible is destroyed, the conspiracy is broken, the galaxy is saved. That's the truth, and it doesn't change based on what some inquiry panel decides. But they can still make things difficult, yes, but they can't change what actually happened. They can't make you less brave or less human or less worthy. All they can do is decide how the political system responds to you. And if they decide wrong, she leaned forward, her eyes fierce. Then we deal with that, together, like we've dealt with everything else. Dex felt something ease in his chest. How do you always know what to say? Because I know you. She reached across the small table, touching his cheek. I know the man who refused to transcend because he valued connection more than power. I know the man who called the Cretharium for justice instead of vengeance. I know the man who spent 6 years fixing broken equipment because he genuinely wanted to help people, even in small ways. That's who you are, Dex. That's who you've always been. The rest is just circumstances. Dex turned his face into her palm, closing his eyes. I love you. I know. I love you too. She stood, pulling him toward the cots. Now come on. We have 53 minutes left, and you need to close your eyes for at least some of them. They lay down on the narrow cots, pushed close together so they could hold hands across the gap. Dex stared at the ceiling, watching the quantum foam underneath reality shimmer and shift, trying to quiet his mind enough to rest. It didn't work. 45 minutes later, they were both still awake, staring at the ceiling in exhausted silence. Dex's mind kept racing through scenarios, through questions and answers and possible outcomes. Beside him, Elara's breathing was too controlled, too measured, the rhythm of someone pretending to rest rather than actually resting. This is pointless, Dex finally said. Completely pointless, Elara agreed. But we tried. They got up, straightened their clothes, tried to make themselves presentable. Dex looked at his reflection in the refresher mirror and barely recognized himself. The face was the same, but the eyes were different. Older, wearier, filled with the weight of seeing too much. "You look like a man who saved the galaxy," Elara said from behind him. "I look like a man who needs about 3 weeks of sleep," Dex replied. "That too." A soft chime sounded, the 5-minute warning. Dex felt his heart rate spike, felt adrenaline flood his system across all 17 dimensions. This was it. No more delays, no more preparation time. In 5 minutes, he would walk into that inquiry chamber and face the judgment of 7 representatives who would decide his future. No, not his future. Just the political response to his past. Elara was right. What he'd done was already done. The truth was the truth. All he could do now was tell it and let the pieces fall where they would. "Ready?" Elara asked, taking his hand. Dex looked at her, at the fierce determination in her eyes, at the love and loyalty that had carried them through impossible dangers. He thought of Garrett's words yesterday, of Admiral Strand's faith in him, of the matriarch's cryptic offer. He thought of Sarah Chen sitting in the observation gallery, trying to understand her brother's choices. He thought of 50,000 people on this station, 73 species in the assembly, countless lives affected by what had happened on Cathara. And beneath it all, he thought of the precursors watching from their transcendent state, curious to see what he would become. "Ready," he said. They walked to the door together. As it opened, Dex saw Admiral Strand waiting in the corridor, flanked by 2 Marines in dress uniform. Beyond them, the passage led toward the main conference wing, where the inquiry chamber waited. "It's time," Strand said simply. Dex nodded. He squeezed Elara's hand once more, drew a deep breath, and stepped forward. The walk to the inquiry chamber felt both endless and instantaneous. Dex was hyper-aware of everything. The click of their footsteps on the deck plating, the subtle vibration of the station's systems, the way light refracted through 17 dimensions to create patterns only he could see. Other personnel moved aside as they passed, some staring openly, others carefully, not looking. Word had spread clearly. Everyone knew who he was now, what he'd done. The most visible person in the galaxy, Strand had said. There was no going back to invisibility. No returning to the simple life of a maintenance worker who fixed broken equipment and stayed out of everyone's way. That version of Dex Holloway was gone, as surely as if he'd transcended. But he was still here. Still human. Still himself. Just more. They reached the inquiry chamber entrance. Massive double doors flanked by security personnel. Through the doors, Dex could hear the murmur of voices, the rustle of movement. The 7 representatives were already inside, waiting. Strand paused at the threshold. "Remember what I said. Tell them the truth. That's all you can do." "And if the truth isn't enough?" Dex asked. "Then we deal with the consequences," Strand replied. "But at least you'll know you didn't compromise who you are to please them." The doors opened. The inquiry chamber was larger than Dex had expected. A semicircular room with tiered seating rising up in concentric arcs. At the front, 7 seats sat on an elevated platform, each occupied by a representative of the inquiry panel. Behind them, an observation gallery held perhaps 24 people, including, Dex's heart clenched, Sarah Chen sitting in the front row with her hands folded tightly in her lap. The 7 representatives turned as Dex entered. He recognized Ambassador Reeves immediately, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes and gray, streaked hair. Beside her sat Representative Zhao, younger and harder, his expression already set in disapproving lines. The 2 Lumineth representatives were less distinct to Dex's perception. Their energy matrices overlapped across dimensions in ways that made them appear as shifting, iridescent presences rather than solid forms. The Vexian, Ambassador Crixtal, was exactly as Elara had described from yesterday. 4 arms, 4 eyes, scales that shifted color with her emotional state. Currently, they showed neutral gray with hints of calculating blue. The Thrin representative, war poet Kreshtal, was massive and imposing, his warriors bearing evident even seated. And the Critharium delegate was a smaller insectoid than Dex had expected, but the pheromone patterns radiating from its carapace spoke of ancient authority and absolute conviction. "Dex Holloway," Ambassador Reeves said, her voice carrying easily through the chamber. "Please approach the testimony platform." Dex walked forward, acutely aware of every eye on him, He stepped onto the small raised platform at the center of the chamber, directly facing the 7 representatives. Elara took a seat in the front row of the general seating area, her presence a solid anchor in his peripheral vision. This formal inquiry, Reeves continued, has been convened to investigate the events surrounding the destruction of the precursor artifact known as the Cosmic Crucible, the conspiracy to weaponize said artifact, and the subsequent transformation of Dex Holloway. The testimony given here will be recorded and distributed to all 73 member species of the Galactic Assembly. She paused, her eyes meeting Dex's with something that might have been sympathy. Mr. Holloway, do you understand the purpose of this inquiry and agree to testify truthfully? Dex felt the weight of the moment settle over him. This was it, the beginning of whatever came next. Across 17 dimensions, he could see Sarah Chen lean forward slightly in the observation gallery, her quantum signature flickering with grief and desperate need for understanding. He could see the probability streams branching out from this single moment. Each answer he might give leading to different futures, but there was only one truth, only one story to tell. I do, Dex said, his voice steady. Representative Zhao leaned forward, his expression sharp. Then let's begin with a simple question, Mr. Holloway. When you destroyed the Cosmic Crucible, an artifact 3 million years old, potentially the most significant archaeological find in galactic history, did you have authorization from any legitimate authority to do so? The chamber fell silent, waiting for his answer. Dex met Zhao's eyes steadily, feeling the weight of the question and everything it implied. This was the moment that would define how the galaxy saw him, as a hero or a criminal, as humanity's savior or its greatest liability. He thought of the Crucible's seductive voice, of the 17 civilizations it had consumed, of the war that had fed it and the transcendence it had promised. He thought of his choice in the space between dimensions, his refusal to predetermine his future, his insistence on remaining human even with the power to become something more. And he thought of Garrett's words. You're still the kid who spent 6 years fixing broken equipment. You're just also the man who saved the galaxy. Both things can be true. No, Dex said simply. I had no authorization, but I'd make the same choice again. In the observation gallery, Sarah Chen closed her eyes. Representative Zhao's expression hardened, and across the quantum dimensions, Dex felt the future begin to collapse into the present, one choice at a time.
Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures. Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures.